What's up, guys? Welcome back to Punk Rock Radar, where today we're going to be Russ ranking all 9 of Good Riddance's studio albums plus one bonus album per guy. So let's get into it.
All right, like Lewis said, today we are ranking the Good Riddance catalog. We already did Anti-Flag, so I'm picking the second most patriotic band I know for Memorial Day. I hope you guys are all celebrating safe and you enjoy this video. I'm joined today by Lewis. How you doing today, man?
I'm stoked, man. You know I love Good Riddance. This is one of my bands growing up, so this is going to be a fun one today.
All right, and we are also joined by Dylan, aka Screeching Bottle Rocket from DyingScene.com. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm awesome. I think I'm the only one who wrote his list on the back of a ice cream bar box.
What brand
I don't own
is that?
paper.
Is it like that looks like
It's like a Aldi knockoff orange creamsicle.
Yeah, it's a creamsicle.
All right, so Dylan's got his list on a creamsicle. We're going to get straight into this. We got the first Good Riddance album. We're going to do 9 albums. There's going to be at least 2 in every tier because we've got a bonus record. So before I forget to say that, up first, debut album 1995 for God and Country came out on Fat Wreck. I think all their stuff is on Fat Wreck. But Lewis, I'll pass it to you first. What are your thoughts on the debut?
I always have to go first. Jeez Louise. All right, so I really waffled on this one quite a bit to kind of figure out where it fit. Because I have a lot of strong feelings about this record. I think you and I see pretty differently on this, John. I like this album a lot. It's got I really love 12 Year Circus. It's like one of my favorite Good Riddance songs. And this one holds a nostalgic spot for me. So factoring in that, but then also how bad it sounds sonically, I'm going to give it a C. So that's where I'm landing on the first one. Sorry to be long-winded.
All right. Well, we don't see that different then. I thought you were going to go like A or B, but I'm fine with a C. Dylan, what about you?
This was probably the hardest to rank, honestly, for the reasons Lewis mentioned. The songs are so good, but the production really holds it back. I originally had this in my D tier, but looking at my list right now, I'm gonna make a change early and bump it up to C, just on the strength of songs like Fly's First Class, All Fall Down, United Cigar, Mother Superior, Wrong Again. But yeah, it does sound real shit.
Yeah, so not to get negative right off the bat, but I rank this list based on if I'm going to go and listen to Good Riddance, what are the chances I'm going to put this one on? And the chance for me to put this one on is like next to nothing. I think Russ's vocals are real rough on here. There's some good songs, but there's good songs that I think they do better later on. So this was an easy D, a D all day long for me. This is my least favorite on the list. So we're starting off C, C, and D. And I don't want to put the pressure on Lewis again, Dylan, so I'll pass it to you now for the second record. Comprehensive Guide to Modern Rebellion came out the next year in 1996. What are your thoughts on this one?
All right, people, put away the pitchforks. I'm getting us back on track here. Comprehensive Guide to Modern Rebellion is going straight to the S tier. Huge sonic improvement over Forgotten Country. Like, it's night and day. I don't know if this was recorded at Motor Studios where all the fat bands record, but it probably was. Whole album's great though. I think this is like Good Riddance's like Dookie, really. Like, this is their breakout album, the one that really put them on the map. Weight of the World, God tier Good Riddance song.
Damn. All right. When you said you had some hot takes, I wasn't expecting this in S, but Lewis, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh no. You go on this one first. I want to go third.
All right. Well, I agree with what Dylan said, that it's an improvement sonically, musicianship, all that, but I outside of Weight of the World, I'm not seeing a ton of standouts. I find this pretty similar to the first one, so I'm also gonna go D on Modern Rebellion. I know it's gonna be a hot take, Lewis. I'm hoping you're gonna take some of this heat off me.
Thank God, because I also put this in D tier. I know, and I was, and Dylan, I don't hate this album at all, but I was genuinely surprised when I went online, and it's such highly regarded. Like it just never connected with me. I always liked Forgotten Country more than this one, so I had to pick a D, and this is the one that I listened to probably the least out of the whole album, outside of like the good songs that I might put on. So I mean, I don't know. It just never connected with me. So we get those pitchforks back out for me and John.
I am protesting the result of this tier list.
All right. Well, we'll move along here. 1998, 2-year gap. We got Ballads from the Revolution. I'll go first on this one. I think this is a pretty substantial jump from the last one. There's some good tracks on here, like Salt, Understood. Still, there's a couple coming up very, very soon that I really connect with, that I really remember listening to in my teenage years. This one I'm going C. I think it's better, but I'm still not ready to put it in those higher tiers. So C tier on this one for me. Lewis, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts here?
Well, maybe this is a hot take because this is my first S. So I love Ballads. This is, depending on the day, most of the time my second favorite Good Riddance record. I think it has the nice balance of kind of, obviously production value, as you said, is way up here, much better. And I also think we get a nice balance of their more angry, I guess, political songs, for lack of a better term, and some more of like the straight pop punk style songs that are a little bit lighter in tone. So I love this album. It's probably the one that I listen to the most, although I won't say it's their best record. So it's an S.
Yeah. This is the one you listen to most? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
All right. Dylan, what about you? We got a C and an S.
Well, I have a hard time listening to this one, honestly. And the reason being that kick drum, man. What is going on there? That thing is so clicky. It sounds like a snare almost. Just listen to any song on this album, and that kick drum just sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm gonna be slightly more complimentary toward it than I was for Forgotten Country, and I'll put it in my B tier again on the strength of the songs, and the production aside from that detail on the drums is fine.
Damn, so your D is completely empty. So, all right, we'll move on. Dylan, you want to take us into Operation Phoenix here?
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna get some real heat for this one because this is gonna be the first one in the D tier for me.
Oh man.
What?
Yeah. I know Good Riddance is like a hardcore punk band, but they're also have a more melodic side to their sound too. And this album just leans so far into just a straightforward hardcore, like all shouted vocals. It kind of gets a little tiring halfway through the album. It's not an easy listen, just because of how hard it is. Again, there's really good songs on here, though. Like Shadows of Defeat is one of my favorite Good Riddance songs, and one of the more, it's heavy on like the octave chords and stuff. But just like shit talking capitalists, like it just hammers you over the head for like 30 minutes.
All right. So, Lewis, I'll pass it to you. This is the one I remember listening to like most when we were like in high school. So I'm curious your take, how you think it aged, because this is the one I think we listened to like constantly.
Yeah, I mean, when we were younger, I would have assumed that this was everybody's favorite Good Riddance record with how much we listened to it, right? So I agree actually with a lot of the stuff that Dylan said, but I'm ranking it significantly higher just because I tend to like it. I do think it is a bit more boring than some of the records, but I think for them just going straight ahead, it's pretty awesome and hard and heavy. And I have a lot of nostalgia for this album. It's not quite S for me. I'm going to put it as my first A tier.
Okay. I was going back and forth between A and B on Operation Phoenix, but I think I'm going to land on. I'm going to go B. I really like this one. It was the first one I had. It was the only Good Riddance CD I had for a while, so I've got a lot of memories with the song, especially, you know, Shadows of Defeat, one of like the most iconic openings, you know. So
yeah,
I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B on here, and I'll take us right into the next one, which is going to be Symptoms of a Leveling Spirit. Came out in 2001. This is the first one I got when it came out, and this is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's going to be top 2 Good Riddance album for me. I love Fire Engine Red. Trial of the Century is my favorite Good Riddance song. I know it's like kind of by the numbers, and it looks like I'm completely alone on Spotify. It's only got 67,000 plays, but I love this album. I think it's the perfect blend of the hardcore Good Riddance and the pop punk Good Riddance. So this is my first S tier. Symptoms of a Leveling Spirit. Dylan, you were shaking your head a little bit. What are your thoughts on this one?
I stand up evergreen, just like the places we would always talk about. The pop punk Good Riddance. Yeah, this is also a real strong A tier album for me. Just that opening soundbite. I hate California. Yeah, the album starts awesome and it just gets better, man. I like Trial as well, Libertine, Yesterday's Headlines. I think the whole album's great.
All right, A and S, Lewis. Can we all agree on one or not yet?
This is my other S tier.
Nice.
This is my favorite Good Riddance record.
Nice.
For all the reasons you guys already said. I don't have the track list up in front of me, and I have such a hard time remembering the name of these goddamn songs for Good Riddance. But all the ones you said, I do know, and I love them. And Libertine is very good. Probably one of my favorites on this album for sure. So awesome. S tier. Really hard to come down. So I am tapped out on S's. So we'll see where the rest go.
All right, Lewis, you want to? I know you've got some thoughts on the next one, so you can lead us into it. We got Bound by Ties of Blood and Affection from 2003.
Yeah,
let's hear it.
Yeah, I think this album. I think we must have got it, or I don't know if we bought it together, but I definitely got this like the day it came out or something.
Definitely.
I think it's pretty good. It's a little disappointing and a little boring, I think. Apparently, this is what really highly regarded as well. I saw a couple of reviews, like, because I kind of go check out what other people think once in a while, and this is like considered like. I heard a couple of reviews were like, "This is like pinnacle Good Riddance." I just don't agree. For me, it's like a solid B tier. I feel like it's a step down from the previous two, in my opinion, but I think it's still totally serviceable and a good record.
Yeah, I'm just noticing now. There's a song called Dylan. I never noticed that before, but I'm gonna go A on this one. I think it's to this point, it's probably got the strongest overall song base, but it's lacking standouts. Like I can listen to it straight through, but I don't have a favorite song on this album. It all kind of goes together, but it's all good. So for that reason, I'm gonna go A. I still listen to this one pretty frequently. You can see I've got probably the most songs pinned of any of the albums so far. So I'm gonna go A. Dylan, what's here? This album has your namesake track on here. How is that gonna weigh in?
It goes straight to the S tier because no, I'm just kidding. Calm down. Yeah, exactly what you said about as an album, it is great. But there are no standout songs really that like you asked me to name 5 good Riddance songs. I'm probably not going to think of a single one off of this album just because they're not that memorable. But it's a good album nonetheless. This one is solidly in my B tier. and the song Named After Me is my favorite.
For that
Is this
reason,
the one with more De Palma, less
yeah.
Fellini? Yeah, okay, I remember that song name.
No, the opener is probably my favorite, honestly. Made to Be Broken.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
They always have really strong opening tracks.
All right, Dylan. I want you to take us right into this next one here. My Republic from 2006. I've got very strong feelings about this one. I think we all really like this record, but let me hear your thoughts first.
Yes, you see that spot in my S tier? It's going in there. I was a late bloomer when it comes to Good Riddance. So this is my first Good Riddance album that I had on compact disc. And it's one of my favorite, man. There's so many great songs on this album. Again, really strong opening track on Out of Mind. There's a few songs that kind of remind me of Shadows of the Feet. With it, there's a lot of like the octave heavy, those octave runs. But there's so many good songs on here. Darkest Days, Texas, Broken, This Beast is Dangerous. That's all bangers. S tier.
Yeah. I'm 100% with Dylan. This is my favorite Good Riddance album. I'm really surprised I don't have more songs pinned, but I'll usually throw on this whole album. So maybe that's the reason. To me, this sounds a lot like Symptoms, but it's more refined, more polished. It's definitely has like a more hard rock feel to it than the early stuff. But I mean, Out of Mind, awesome opener. Shane, like I don't think there's any bad songs on here. Just looking, yeah, the whole album is good. So this is S, my favorite Good Riddance album. Lewis, I fully expected this to be in your S tier. So am I safe to assume it's going at least A?
This is my other D, actually. No. This is my A plus. I love this record as well, for all the reasons you guys said. And I'm happy that you mentioned Shame briefly there, because I love that song. It's like one of the standouts on this album for me. It's just really unique in their discography, I feel like. But yeah, this record, the only reason it didn't make the S tier for me is because I like the other albums slightly better, obviously. But I do think it's definitely the most overproduced record at that point, right? It's like, and it sounds pretty boilerplate. It sounds like they got in the studio and the guy was like, this is how you're going to make every single song. There was like just very formulaic to it, but a very good record. Every song's good. So A plus.
All right, moving on. So another one we agree on. We've got a 9-year gap, and then they were broke up. They had the farewell tour. Lewis, I'm pretty sure you went to a couple days, right?
I went to one of them. Yeah,
one of them. And then so 2015, we get here Peace in Our Time, which I don't know. I think there's some bangers on this album. No Greater Fight, Our Better Nature, Running on Fumes. It's very much in the vein of My Republic. It's just, for me, it's just not as memorable. Let me see where I'm going to put this. I'm still mulling it over. I'm going to go B. I still really like this album. I know that a lot of Good Riddance fans don't care for this record. I think it's underrated. I like it a lot. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Lewis, what about you? Peace in Our Time.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of forgot this record existed. Like I listened to it when it came out, and then I kind of never listened to it again. So I was happy to kind of be forced to give it another listen. I don't hate this record. I did find it pretty boring, especially on the first half. I think I like the second half better on this one. Am I right? Thinking the second half's better. This was pretty good.
Starting at 6 is where it heats up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid C for me. So I'm putting it in. I feel pretty comfortable putting it in there. It's definitely not my other D.
All right, Dylan, you've got A, C, and D. Where's Peace in Our Time gonna go?
It's My Republic is a hard act to follow, especially for how long they were out of the game. except for Only Crime, of course. So yeah, it's a pretty steep fall off from the last record. I got it in my C tier, but it's a C plus. Um, Favorite songs: Grace and Virtue, No Greater Fight, Dry Season, Washed Away, and Our Better Nature.
There we go.
You know, I was shocked that Dry Seasons, like no offense against the song, like, I think it's okay, but I was like, just my
The
side note,
single?
I was like, yeah, but I was surprised it was like one of their top songs on Spotify. Maybe that's just a timing thing, right? About like when it released.
Yeah, it was the single, I think.
Yeah.
So it was like they just came back, and it's their first song in however many years.
That's
Yeah.
true. That had
People
to
were
feed
pretty
in.
stoked on that shit.
Yeah, I think that's why their Spotify things are probably skewed. A lot of these older bands. So,
All right, guys. Last album. You guys both have a D left, so I'm curious where this is gonna go for you guys. We've got the final full length. We've got a bonus one after, so don't leave just yet. We've got, what is this called? Thoughts and Prayers. We've got Thoughts and Prayers from 2019. Dylan, take it away.
Let's talk about hope. We need a little sympathy. I think about my country through the lens of history.
Yeah, this one I feel similarly as I do the last album, but it's even less memorable, I would say. Like there really aren't many standout songs on here. And I feel like the hype kind of wore off. The last one was the comeback album, and this one was like, okay, well, Good Riddance has been back for 4 years. I'm not as like, like chomping at the bit for new music or anything. So I wasn't that like excited about this when it came out. So it is my last D tier. I mean, I think Our Great Divide was the lead single, and that's the only one that really jumps off the screen when I'm looking at it here.
Damn.
It's not bad though. It's a good D tier album.
So I've got this in A. I think this is an awesome album. I think this is leaps and bounds better than the last one. The first half is stacked, and then Pax Americana on the back end. I really like this album. So this is an A for me. I hope this isn't the last we get of Good Riddance, because I really like, I think the last three are all, fairly similar, just with varying degrees of memorable songs. But I think this one's pretty stacked. So I'm going to go A. Yes, I'm putting it above Operation Phoenix and Ballads from the Revolution. So I expect a little backlash. But Lewis, you've got D and B left. What spot is this going to claim?
well, I picked the bonus record knowing I would put it in my D, so this is going to be my B. I think it is an improvement over Peace in Our Time as well. For a lot of the reasons you noted, I don't think it's quite as good. And for me, I'll be honest, this is the first time I listened to this album, so it's definitely got a little shine on it as something I just totally missed and gave it a first listen this time. So I think I was actually texting you when I was listening to this one and re-listening to the other one. I was like, well, it's pretty obvious this one's way better than the one that came out, 4 years before. And I still feel that way, that this was superior, and I like a lot of the standouts you mentioned. So B tier all day.
All right. Well, you alluded to it, so let's hear about this D tier album you're going to talk about.
Well, I needed to pick a D tier, and I didn't want to put the both old records in D tier. So for my D tier, I have selected Cover Ups by Good Riddance, because it's a cover record. It's a covers record. It's not a particularly bad one, but I would also say it's not particularly good either. My favorite one on this one, I think, is the Psychedelic Furs song, and then probably, which is like In My Mind or Here in My Head, or I forget what the exact name is. And then also Leader of the Pack is pretty fun. But this is it's okay. It's solid. It's not a bad record, but solid D for me.
I think it's like, if somebody heard Good Riddance and they found out, like, to me, they just totally don't seem like a band that would have a cover album. So I kind of like the novelty of it, but I don't like the cover album at all. I can get into some covers, but this one, I think it kind of blows, but it is what it is. It's in the D tier. So Dylan, what is your bonus pick going to be?
We're going with Only Crime, Virulence. one of my favorite Fat Records releases of all time that doesn't get any love. I discovered Only Crime when Fat Mike had a podcast with Floyd, and they just played like songs off new and upcoming releases, and they played Eyes of the World from this album. And I fell in love instantly. So yeah, this is a A tier for me. Take Me, Everything for You, Eyes of the World, Just Us, and then like every single song on the second half of the album, just straight ripper. Good Riddance with Bill Stevenson on drums and some like fucking like jazz fusion kind of shit going on. Really cool.
Yeah, see, I had planned to use that. I told you because I really like that album too, but I had run out of everywhere except my C tier. So I'm going with Capricorn 1. I'm going with the Rarities collection. This has songs from all the splits they did with Ensign and Kill Your Idols, right? There's a couple other splits. And like some random songs. This is okay. Like I think this is better than the first two albums. I don't know how people are gonna feel about that, but for the amount of songs on here, you get some bang for your buck. I think Class War 2000 is the standout. But yeah, that Capricorn 1 is gonna go in the C tier. I don't think that's too much of a hot take. It's got some cool album art. But yeah, that's gonna wrap this one up. So Lewis, what's the big surprise on the board for you?
I'm trying to see who shocked me more. I don't know. I think, John, yours perhaps putting the classics so low kind of shocked me. I thought you would have maybe Ballads. I thought would be a little bit higher for you. So that one I was very surprised. So
yeah, I do like Ballads. It's just tough, man. This is a good catalog. Hey, Dylan, what is your big surprise here? Anything you didn't expect?
I didn't expect you guys to dislike Comprehensive Guide so much because that's kind of like consensus.
The Good Riddance record, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is the cover is really recognizable, and this was at a time when, from what I've been told, Fat Records was like on fire. Like it was like the label in melodic punk, like the Epiphat thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is definitely going against consensus. I've never heard anyone else say anything to the contrary about that album.
Yeah, so I'm so glad Lewis went D also.
That was interesting. I feel like too, like maybe I was a little hard on the newest album. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that more. I don't dislike it. It's just like I haven't really been like. Usually when a new album comes out, like I'm real hyped about it, and I can't stop listening, especially if it's one of my favorite bands. But I kind of listened to this once and put it down, and that was it. So maybe I was a little tough on it.
Yeah, man, it's really good. I think if you give it another chance, you'll like it.
I liked it too. And just for the record, I don't hate Comprehensive Guide, but I don't know why. I just can't. I just never think about it when I think about Good Riddance, which obviously goes in contrast to apparently being the album everyone thinks about, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think for me, like for some reason, Good Riddance wasn't a band where I got into them and I immediately got the back catalog. Like normally that's what I do. But I had Operation Phoenix, and then I didn't get another one until I got Symptoms, and then I got Bound by Ties, and then I think I went back and got the old stuff. So it was hard when I had already established Good Riddance as like a very melodic band to go back to the older, more raw stuff. It just wasn't what I was looking for when I was looking for more Good Riddance. So that's kind of my explanation there. I think I heard Comprehensive Guide like 2009, 2010, maybe. It was a while. Like it was after Ballads, after all that. And Forgotten Country, I think it kind of meh. There's just so many better albums than that.
It's like listening to Suffer, and then someone's like, oh, you got to check out their first album, and you listen to How Can Hell Be Any Worse, right? It's like a very similar kind of change.
All right. So that is going to wrap it up here. Like we said before, happy Memorial Day to everybody. If you like this video, please subscribe. We're doing the Descendants next. They completely dominated the poll. I was kind of hoping we would get to do Teenage Bottle Rocket. I even voted for them myself on 2 accounts, and it did no good. But yeah, The Descendants is next. It's going to be late June, early July, but we've got a ton of stuff before that comes out. Dylan, anything exciting happening over on Dying Scene before we say goodbye?
Check out the new single from The Upshot. When you're watching this, it's been out for a few days, but that's on there. It's also on Spotify at this point, probably. But check that out. Their EP's coming soon on Cat's Claw Records and Punk Rock Radar Records.com LLC Incorporated.
Yes, like Dylan said, head over to the website. There's another album along with that I'm really excited to be working on. So make sure you're following over there. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you all next time.